Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Overcast podcast. I'm Corey, and today I'm honored to be joined by Go Kurosawa from Kikagaku Moyo. How are you doing, Go?
Great. How are you? Thank you.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks so much for being here. It's really great to talk with you and get to
Yeah,
get to pick your brain a little.
thank you.
Uh, yeah. Just so, how are you doing? How are you? How have you been holding up? Now that things are getting better. You're in the Netherlands, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Amsterdam right
How's
now.
that? How are things over there?
It's getting back. Things are getting back, coming back, and now people can not show yet, but then restaurants can open outside.
Mhm.
It's been like long lockdown,
Mhm.
so it's like summer is coming. It's nice.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, that's the same way over here. Where I'm at, I'm in Texas in the States, and things never really got too bad here, even when it was at the height of it, thankfully. But things are starting to open up. Everybody's still getting vaccinated regardless, so it's good stuff.
Mm.
Have you been vaccinated? Are you planning on getting vaccinated or
Not yet.
not yet?
I'm waiting to get it.
Mhm.
Sometimes next month. But we have a plan for touring this summer.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like necessary.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we'll have to do tests every time we are crossing the border in Europe.
Okay. Yeah.
It can be too much hassle.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, the tour that you just announced yesterday. I kind of want to get into that, but we can get into that a little later. First, I'd kind of like to start at, I guess, the beginning on how did Kikagaku Moyo start? Like, what was the inception of the band?
Well, it started as kind of like me and Tomo, how we met through like kind of skate scene
Mhm.
in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Where people hanging out, and then people don't skate also come hang out, and then we kind of organically just play music, and we wanted to play something that people who never play music before
Mhm.
like can join.
Okay. Yeah.
So kind of collective that it's like no pressure, play well, but kind of try to create something that anything that we can do. So it started from kind of like busking on the street,
Mhm.
and then we met people through it, and then kind of gradually formed the band
Mhm.
and start playing shows. Yeah.
Nice. When you were busking, was that already? Were you guys already working on original material at that point, or was it just covers,
No, just jamming.
just jamming? Oh, okay,
No
cool.
song. We didn't know how to write a song.
Uh huh.
So okay, let's bring instruments, and then just like looking at each other, playing one note, and then kind of like figuring out.
Mhm.
So sometimes people are coming and stop and then try to figure out what we are doing, and
Mhm.
then they'll figure out, oh, it's not a song, and they're just like messing around with the instruments.
Uh huh.
And some people stay like and that was kind of like good practice for us to kind of just jamming,
Mhm.
just try to figure out. We couldn't know like what's like chord or anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you guys were already kind of, I guess, a band, how did that transition sort of work from going into still learning how to play instruments and going into writing? When did you guys start writing your own material?
So we first booked a show. We were like, let's play a show.
Mhm.
And then we had like 20, 30 minutes, 20 minutes set.
Mhm.
We're giving. So we thought like, okay, we can have one song.
Mhm.
Then we can just jam.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of start writing.
Mhm.
Something material that we can jam. So it didn't just have the beginning. First was just one riff.
Mhm.
Just riff and then just playing 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then after that, it developed, okay, let's make beginning. so we know how to begin
Yeah.
and then how to end it. Then
Okay.
it's a song.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
beginning and ending song, and then we could figure out, okay, then just jump and then make a hard intro
Mhm.
ending. Then we kind of got used to writing, and then that kind of developed. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Was it just something that you were subconsciously thinking when you guys first started jamming, or were you? Because I mean, it's kind of like a psych rock, I guess, is the main classification under what you guys are. Even though there's many subgenres and stuff like that. Did it start out like that, or did it kind of naturally progress into that genre?
Psychedelic was easy term
Mhm.
for us to just say,
Yeah.
oh, it's a psychedelic music. Then it can be anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's kind of like easy term. It can be folk, it can be, pop, or it can be heavy
Mhm.
stuff. Then you can just call it psychedelic. So it's easy term.
Mhm. I guess that's a good point. Yeah, psychedelic can kind of be whatever you make it.
Yeah.
Cool. So now that you guys are a band, was it all? How long did it take you to get all the members of the band and be like, okay, this is the set band and this is what we're moving forward with?
Maybe 3-4 months.
Oh, okay, that's pretty fast.
So
Yeah.
maybe like 6 months of jamming, and then after meeting, and then maybe after 3-4 months.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And then you already had the full band once you did that show that was 20 minutes.
So that was like different people too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And then come and go, and then kind of form quickly.
Okay. Cool. So now that you guys have the whole band together and you have the set band, what was it like going into creating the first album, creating your first set piece of music?
First record, the self-titled, was we thought we make a demo.
Uh-huh.
So our intention was like, let's make a demo, because we opened Moon Duo.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When they came to Tokyo, and when we just started, and we talked to Ripley, and then he told us, oh, you guys need to record. And we didn't know what to do. Like fast recording, I don't know, like just playing show.
Mm-hmm.
Then he told me that you need to record demo and then send me.
Mm-hmm.
Then okay, then we'll do that. So we knew someone who has been recording. That was the only person who we know who can record. So we went there and just recorded in 2 days or something. Yeah.
Cool. And you already had those set songs, or did you have to kind of come up with songs on the fly?
That was how we had to come up with songs. Like we kind of like played it, recorded, and then while we're recording, we need to kind of decide, okay, shorter or longer. So that was like that, like writing, but at the same time recording.
Mm-hmm.
But we had some kind of idea.
Cool. Something that I always wondered when I first stumbled across you guys was during the Forest of the Lost Children. And I got obsessed. I started listening to all your stuff. And one thing I always thought about was, because I didn't know about the Japanese music culture or anything like that. And I was just wondering, was that already like a scene over there? Like, was there a lot of people into kind of psych rock and stuff over there? Like, how big was the music scene when you were first starting?
Music scene itself is big as a market, but then like scene like America, like kind of everyone share the same like bands, like same interest, or like that kind of organically happening. It's not there in especially like psychedelic rock, but there was history from 70s, like 60s, 70s, like there's all psychedelic bands, but I don't think there was like actual scene that, oh, this is Japanese psychedelic stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like not really undefined bands that kind of pops up in the like different scenes. throughout the history, and we wanted to make actual scene like that. So we started first Tokyo Psych Fest, then try to make this is psych rock. There's no like context, musical context of leading to psychedelic culture or rock in Japan.
Yeah.
No, like America has like all the 60s and it came revival or shoegaze stuff that came kind of post rock, everything kind of like emerged around 2010 or around that.
Was a lot of people, were they receptive to that kind of thing when you guys first started?
No, like nobody cared. Of course. Yeah. So we thought, okay, this is going nowhere if we kept playing like in Japan. So we were like, let's get out. Yeah, there's no way. Like this is expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was that kind of a deterrent in a way? Did that deter you guys at all, knowing that it wasn't really big there? Like what was your next move after that? Like where did you want to go?
So first we went to Australia and kind of contacted some bands on Facebook and said like, hey, we're a band from Japan, we're on tour. Can you guys help us out? Here's our music. And then they booked like whole tour for us.
Oh, cool.
2 weeks. And then we just followed them and then didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know. I never touched like built drum kit before at the time. I thought drum was already there like that, And then Venue told me, okay, can you build the drum? And I was like, I don't know how it, so
yeah.
no idea. Like I never had owned a drum kit before. So yeah, and that kind of started. We just went 2 weeks and it felt like we got paid.
Nice. That's always good.
You have to pay to play in Japan. So that was like shocking. Oh, wow, we can get paid.
Yeah.
Japan. That's how we felt.
It's crazy hearing like those stories that you're saying, like how you didn't even know how to essentially build a drum kit. You put one together, and now looking at like how far you guys have come now, it's pretty incredible.
Now I have a drum kit.
Yeah, there you go. And you put it together yourself and everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know.
One thing that I really think is awesome about you guys is your distinct style. I wouldn't say it's a distinct style per se, but you can throw on any song from you guys and instantly just be like, oh, that's a Kikagaku Moyo song. And not saying that they sound the same at all. It's just you guys have that style, So how long did it kind of take to develop that style? Is it something that you're still working on now? Or do you think you've kind of perfected your style and you're like, okay, we can run with this now?
No, we still haven't figured out that. That's not what we were trying to do. Like kind of organically try to be interested in many things. So as we are getting older, of course, our interest is going to be different. So what we think it's cool is changing. So that's kind of showing throughout the albums. So not so much thinking about, let's make this kind of sound for this record, or there is also this like backbone that kind of carries us throughout all the albums, which is maybe something that you can define like, Kikagaku sound. But that's something like naturally our ear think, this is comfortable sound, or this is cool sound. So kind of just stick to it and then try to do something that we are moved by listening to other people's music or looking at something beautiful or reading something, kind of like try to be inspired many things, then showing to sound, like digesting to the sound.
Yeah. One thing that I always find interesting, and I always think about it with different artists, especially you guys, Do you ever go back and is it easy to go back and listen to old recordings, like older albums? Or do you kind of just like, we should have, I guess it's always natural to self-criticize what you've done in the past, considering like how far people have come now. But, how do you view your older material?
It's like looking at your old picture or something.
Yeah.
So like like maybe your MySpace pictures or old Facebook pictures. It's like something is kind of young, you can see yourself a little bit younger, and then that's a part of you. So I'm not gonna say like delete those things. Like it's kind of part of you, that kind of history of us. So I like how it is, because I feel like that was like what we got at the time, the best. So don't need to change anything. And then the good thing is we are not really getting better so much how we think, like technical wise, little bit, not that much. We're still making lots of mistakes, and when we are getting like excited, playing too much or like getting faster, but that's very natural. So once it's okay, so I accept everything in that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Another thing that I'm always really interested in, and I'd love to talk to you about, is the recording process of going into recording albums. How is that? Is it different with every album? Has it changed a lot, like in terms of your recording process? Do you like to record as a band, or do you do a lot of overdubbing, or how does that work?
So it used to be more like, let's record and then do one take or maybe two takes max. Then we always do like really quick, bam, 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 just play live and then record the kind of live and then added sounds later. And other folk songs or smaller songs that's coming from idea that each of us have. And they kind of play in front of everyone, and then everyone says, oh, that's cool. Then let's record that. And listen to it, put it together. Up to now, we could do that because we didn't have so much time to write up before the COVID. So it was only like 1 month. Okay, I need to write. So going to studio, just trying to come up with like anything and just record a bunch of ideas and then just jam, and then maybe like something come up. And 40% completion, we could just play at the show and then just figure out how the audience reacts. And this part can be longer, or let's make intro, or then that's how we made the song in the past.
Oh, that's really cool.
Then COVID came, and then we can now, 3 of us live in Tokyo, 2 of us live in Amsterdam, so we can now physically meet, and now we don't have time limit, and we don't meet anybody. We're not seeing any shows. Like that was kind of hard, because then we have to dig ourselves, not out there inspiration. But okay, like what do I like? Like what do we like? We like. So we have to kind of like dig ourselves and kind of everyone roll something and then kind of put together. So that's kind of like next record.
Interesting.
How we roll. So it's a little bit different this time recording process, because most of the song we recorded in Tokyo during the COVID, and we didn't plan to record it, but we just went to studio, just playing, and then we thought, okay, maybe we can just record now. I think we have enough ideas, and just record it, and then we kind of liked it. So okay, then let's call it next record.
That's cool. Did you like that style of writing during the COVID? Like,
I liked it. I didn't like first.
I
was kind of pressured. I feel like I have so much time. I should be able to write more songs, like, every day, and try to like come up with something. And I felt a little bit pressured, to be honest. And then I went back to Japan, went in the studio with everyone, and then felt really natural to just play, like just like hanging out, playing, jamming. And then it kind of started. Yeah.
Nice. That's really interesting. I find that really cool how before COVID you were kind of, still developing the song like while you were sort of writing it, and based off of fan interaction live. And that's moving on to my next point, which is your live performances. I have never, unfortunately, I've never been able to see you guys live. Hopefully someday. But I've seen a lot of your live performances on like YouTube, like the KEXPs and, stuff like that. And the energy is wild with you guys. And it seems like it's just one cohesive mind above the entire band. You all are just moving together. And was that just natural? Like, is that how it is in the studio when you're recording? Like, do you guys have that much energy?
It's natural, but especially if there are people around, it's much natural. If there's camera around, it's not so natural.
Okay, yeah.
But it's natural just being with 5 of us, because we used to live together. We're really close friends. We talk about everything. So kind of like on the stage and outside of stage, it's very close physically and psychologically, mentally. So I think that energy people can feel it sometimes. Or they are good friends, or they seems to have fun on the stage, or they are like chill, or they're super intense, serious. Sometimes audience can feel it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's coming natural, and then whoever audience can connect with the energy. I think that's something really cool, because it's beyond language. It's a human connection thing.
Yeah. One thing that I usually ask my guests, which it's kind of weird asking you this, since it kind of they intertwine so much. But I like to ask if you prefer doing like studio stuff, or would you prefer playing live? What you personally?
I personally like performing live. Yeah, love seeing people's face, smiling back, the eye contact. Like seeing a different face everywhere. Crazy experience. And in the studio, it's different thing. So I prefer that.
It's kind of crazy, like what's happened this last year. Like a lot of people's responses have been they like doing it live, like they like playing live because of your answer. They like crowd interaction and stuff like that. And it's crazy now that was kind of taken away from everyone with the past events and stuff. But moving out of it, we're getting into the clear, and that leads us to you guys just announced a new European tour, which is really awesome. How are you guys, approaching that? Are you guys ready for it, or is it kind of like, oh, we have to kind of dust off the cobwebs, or how are you guys going into it?
Yeah, exactly. We need to play rehearsal. Okay, we need to make sure. But it's so boring to practice your song. I'll never do that. I'll maybe like listen one time, and then I know everyone will say, "Oh, let's practice before meet up," and then no one would do that. So you have to go in the studio, just play it, and then you make mistake, and you have to feel like, "Oh, sure, I cannot, I forgot." Then you like get on it. So I think that's gonna happen, and maybe first few show maybe sloppy, but then it's okay. It's our natural thing, and I hope people would enjoy our sloppiness. They're not used to it, or like they would be shy or like shaky. So
I think at this point anybody will just appreciate any live music. How does that work with two of you in Amsterdam and the rest in Tokyo? Like, has that? Do you find that's been strenuous on music making, or?
This is our own almost 3 years, and then we've been also touring so much, so we never felt like we are apart because we are almost living in a van, and then only the time between tour we just come back, and then always meet up. So that was, and then now it's separate, so it's gonna be more difficult before because there's not much tour. But then once tour happened, I think it's fine.
I always find it interesting, the artist's perspective on their own music. I've been wanting to ask you, because you have a good amount of material out with Kikagaku Moyo. You have a bunch of singles, EPs, LPs, and stuff like that. Do you ever just sit back and throw on some of your older music and just listen to it, or? Or I know some people's responses are always just like, yeah, I recorded it, so I've heard it enough in my life. Like, and of course playing songs live also. So
yeah, I don't really listen like to it, but then sometimes, like maybe before writing, I listen to a lot, like throughout like first, second, third, and try to find like something. Is there anything that continues theme coming up, or is there anything that I can get any inspiration from it? Something I forgot that I liked, so they might be in there. So that's how I listen now, the old records. Yeah,
that's a really interesting topic, because I was going to ask you also if you find that older material inspires new material, and you kind of just answer that, and I think that's really cool. Has there been that just gave me a lot to think about. That's real. I think that's a really cool process.
Yeah.
You
can also think like, oh, maybe there's not something that you haven't done. So let's try this thing.
Cool. That's really cool. Well, yeah, a segment that we like to do on the show is listener submitted questions. And so I went on Instagram and I asked if any of the listeners want to hear anything specific from you. And we got a few, and I'm going to ask them now. Let's see. Since you are the drummer for Kikagaku Moyo, one of the questions from pure.guava on Instagram is, what are some of your favorite drummers? Do you have any, inspirations or stuff?
Oh, that's hard. Well, of course, Yaki Kan, drummer. Is maybe favorite, but then my favorite is a friend of mine called Shoko, and when I saw her playing first time, her performance made me want to play drums, because she never played drums before also. But how she played was like super primitive, very physical. And I thought, yeah, drum should be like this, not like
yeah.
And I thought it's like this very like physical, primitive, kind of like energetic instrument. And there was not many drummers in Japan play like that, because people respect the instrument so much. So they need to learn how to play properly, how to like hold sticks, and then everybody play really well and light, and then there's a certain style.
Yeah.
And then when I saw her playing, it blew my mind, and then made me want to play like almost like her. How to you don't need to care about how to hold stick, because you can just hit, right? The drums, like you don't need to care, like think about. So that kind of drama doesn't really become famous because not so good. So
Yeah.
I cannot really tell like this drummer, but I like that kind of drummers or any musician who play like that.
Uh-huh. Would you consider yourself more of like a technical drummer or more of a just go with the flow drummer? Because some of your songs, they sound kind of I don't know if it's intentional or anything, but they sound kind of technical and planned out, which obviously they are. But you know, like what going into the studio, are you and recording a new song? Are you like, I'm just gonna just go with the music, or are you kind of like, okay, I kind of have a planned out beat?
Go with flow, and there is so not many things I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So that I want to do these things, but I cannot do much. So there's a limitation there, and just try to figure out from it.
Cool. Yeah. Does your friend, does she have any music that is out? Like I'd love to check her out also. Yeah.
The drummer,
Uh-huh.
she now singing, so I'll send you her singing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's playing solo now.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to check that out.
Yeah.
Moving on to another question from Fiegenheim on Instagram. He says, love Deep Fried Grandeur, which I loved as well. Great stuff. Your most recent release. Yeah, great stuff. Just thought I'd throw that in there too. And his question is, are longer jammy songs the next direction for the band?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No. That was like kind of special thing that we did for the festival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, longer jamming thing is cool, but then if it's cool if like super kind of like really nice environment.
Uh-huh.
Everybody don't feel anything, don't expect anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you pay like, I don't know, like if show and if you play 2-hour jam, no song, and I don't know if we can connect on normal venue playing like that. And maybe we might feel like, oh, this is kind of a little bit selfish. But then if there is an environment that could everyone feel us, oh, no pressure, just play whatever. Like we will just like hang out, just doing something. You guys just do whatever, however long. Then it might be good.
Do you find that ever happening? Like, do you ever find that maybe one day we'll make an album where it's just 2 sidelong jams? Or do you think that's just, it's more of a just in the moment kind of thing?
In the moment kind of thing. So maybe it's should be live and kind of happened one time and then record, secret without we don't know. So we don't feel like pressure.
Yeah.
Somebody secret record.
Yeah.
Quickly.
That's I really appreciate that kind of music style. Like a lot of the music that I listen to and stuff, I watch interviews of bands and they say that like, yeah, it took a while to kind of plan out this album and, write songs. And it took me a while to come up with the rest of the song. But with you guys, it sounds like you guys are just kind of like, let's go, let's do it. And then you do it. And then that's kind of it, and that's, it's awesome. And it's very daring, I should say, being as, because I have a small little group band myself, and it takes us forever to write a song. We're kind of like, oh, well, what piece goes here and this like that. I wish that we could just go into a studio and just be like, let's just jam a song.
just try out, and then if doesn't work, then it's okay. Whatever,
Yeah.
And then the kind of place, if you have that kind of place that you can just play around and happen, and you kind of like capture the moment of the group is just having fun, and that's going to be good record. I'm sure for you first. Yeah. So that's really important for us to feel like, oh, that was really fun time, more than we need to write records. And then if we don't, like, that's all, we cannot write music, and then that's all. So kind of no pressure.
Has that sort of happened in the past? Like, are you guys ever jamming and you're just like, no, we weren't feeling that one, like, is there any outtakes that we'll never hear because you guys are like, nah, we weren't really feeling that?
Yeah, lots of stuff. That's all. Beginning is really cool. After 2 minutes, it's okay. Got it. Or something's missing, but if you try to put something, it doesn't work. So, or like kind of cool bits, and then don't know what to do. Cool riff or cool melody within and then that we didn't know how to develop it or something. Like there are lots of stuff like that.
Do you think we'll ever have the chance to get like a B-sides Kikagaku album with all the outtakes or something? Or
it will be so messy. It's really shitty. Because we're literally playing around. Not trying to really make song. We're just like humming or like, just try to make kind of like each other laugh. How about this? And then, try not to take ourselves seriously. Like when we're writing music. So that's kind of important.
Cool. Well, I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that there's probably a lot of people that would still want to listen to that kind of stuff. But moving on, this is from Will.Harrison, and he asks, how did you get Backlash, the song, to sound like that? And will you ever play it live?
Backlash, that was just recording in rehearsal studio with really just like one room mic just hanging, and maybe like really shitty mics, one mic each, and then just playing like. And then we added, I think a producer added maybe something like guitar. I think he played the music throughout guitar and then recorded again. So made it use the guitar distortion. And I think I don't really know how. You need to ask the producer, Hideki Urawa, and he can tell. And we're like, oh, that's cool.
I was going to ask you, what was your reaction when you first heard that track? Because it's really, when I first heard it, I heard a version on YouTube, and that's the song. It sounds real blown out and stuff, and it sounds really cool. But when I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is a bad recording of this song. Let me see if I could go find a cleaner copy. And they were all like that. I'm like, oh, the song's just like this.
Many people complain, like, oh, my record sounds too bad. This cannot be like this. And then this is so shitty sound. So can you get us like replacement? And then I was like, can you take the video? You're self-releasing, and then it sounded like how it's supposed to be. Oh, please, it's supposed to be like that. I'm sorry, like it sounded really bad for you. I hope you one day appreciate it, or otherwise give it to somebody.
I feel like I kind of sounded like I didn't like the song. I love the song and I appreciate the sound. But at first I was kind of like, what's the deal with these files?
Right?
But and then the next part of his question was, are you planning on playing it live ever, or is that just
the song?
Yeah.
Maybe. I haven't figured out how to end the song.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? Because isn't it fade away?
I believe so, yeah.
Right, so we cannot fade away in live. So maybe just slow down.
If you were to play it, would you try to emulate the distortion live also, or just crank everything up, all the distortions up?
Yeah, just try to express the distortion by our face or body.
Yeah. Just make it, and so that way people that are maybe recording it live, they go back and listen to it, they're like, man, this is a bad recording.
Yeah.
Kind of an offshoot from that question is what goes into choosing the live set lists?
Live set list is every day different.
Mm-hmm.
So because we cannot play same set every day for 2 months.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. So we always switch around every single day, and then add different songs, old songs, new songs. But we kind of like make these kind of like songs that we want to play in live.
Yeah.
Songs that we can connect with audience.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some songs that maybe audience don't get it, like just hearing it, but we can connect, like the band can connect.
Yeah.
This is what we want to do. So kind of the mixing those songs around, and then right before our set, we decide.
Cool. That's it for the listener submitted questions. Sorry again to the listeners if I didn't get to your question. I apologize. But yeah, maybe next time. Keep on submitting them so we can. Yours will be read eventually. I'm sure of it. One thing that I forgot to ask, and we can go ahead and close up with this, is Guru, the record label. How did that? What made you want to start your own record label?
Because the original idea was not our record label. So we started to do kind of promote Asian music from Asia. And then after second record, we were like, okay, let's do it by ourselves. This can be, because like King Gizzard was doing Flightless. Yeah. I thought, actually, people don't really care about which label they are on. People actually like the band. And then they want to support the band. And if there is a way, I think I would want to do that. So, but there was not many things like that in the past. And I wanted to make kind of like a collective like label so we can kind of like what we experienced touring Europe and US, that experience and then connection or tools that we learned, I wanted to give to bands in Asia, because we thought, the context of music, in indie music or rock music scene, it's always like Japanese band has some kind of little bit privilege because we have some context from Boredoms, touring, Mono, Boris, Stigmata Temple. But other countries in Asia, many people never heard music from China or Taiwan or Indonesia. And I thought we can maybe bring those bands and then have more mix in the industry or in the scene, so people can actually listen to it and then learn about the culture, and then kind of like you can notice many things from it. Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, I really appreciate that label. I've listened to a lot of artists that are on there, and it really, like you said, it really helps. It helped me in particular explore new music that I may have never heard of, which is really cool. Another thing that I'd like to touch on really quick is, of course, the records, different pressings, different, variations and stuff on records. What's your kind of take on that? Like people selling your older records, older pressings for hundreds of dollars. Like what I've always wondered what the artist's take was on that kind of thing. I think it's okay. If people wants to sell that, then which doesn't, the money that they made doesn't come to us. But also there's many ways to listen to the music, and yeah, if it's too expensive and then only some people can get it, but it's kind of cool to be like rare. Like I know myself, like I love those kind of records, but then sometimes it's too expensive, so you have to kind of be fine with reissue or YouTube. So I think that's kind of real in the. So I don't have anything to say, and I think it's okay.
Yeah, one thing that I really appreciate about you guys is you are like you said, you're always doing reissues of new albums, and it's always different pressings and stuff like that, which is really cool. I love that you guys do that. You make it as available as you guys can, which is really cool, and that's a really good way to think of it. I did always think that in the back of my mind that artists were like, well, if somebody's willing to pay that much money for one of your records, then that's kind of a huge compliment.
Yeah.
So yeah, just in closing, I always like to ask what does the future hold for Go and for Kikagaku Moyo? What can we expect in the future besides, of course, the newly announced Euro tour? But can you give us any insight into maybe new work coming out or?
So yeah, the new album we are working on now, Mix. Actually, we recorded in Japan like until January, and then I haven't listened to that kind of up to now. Everyone actually forgot. And we're talking about different thing, about life. So while that, like, the mixing is kind of being processed, and then I think it's gonna come soon from the engineer. Then we actually can listen after like 5 months, and then maybe figure out something. So that's kind of like what we are not working on, but just like sleeping on.
Cool.
And that hopefully we can release next year, early next year, and then full tour from there. Like next year spring, like summer or fall in the US sometimes. But to be honest, we don't know what's gonna happen. So we try to be really present, try not to expect so much. If that happen, it's cool. If not happen, then that's okay. And then we will figure out kind of thing. So not so much like, oh, we're gonna do this, blah blah blah. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. I'm excited to hear it. I hope you guys are excited to hear it yourselves. And yeah, I can't wait for things to be back to normal. Hopefully that tour does happen next year. If anything happens, we miss you here in the States, especially Texas. So yeah, thanks again, man. It was really cool talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a great rest of your day. Have a good afternoon. I understand it's afternoon over there.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, have a good one. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
See you.